Shortly after the release of Garrett Gilchrist's classic editions, it became quickly apparent to users on OriginalTrilogy.com that a fork in the road of fan preservations had just been created. While there had always been differences in the approach to preservation, for the first time ever, two main different philosophies now existed side by side. On one side, you had those like Garrett, who believed in reinserting theatrical elements on top of a high-quality special edition base. And on the other side, you had those who believed that the tried and true approach of a simple high-quality LaserDisc transfer was the way to go. While this latter approach did utilize lower quality sources when compared to the retroactive edit approach, it was praised by many members as a more consistent and faithful preservation method. However, also at this time there existed a major problem on the OriginalTrilogy.com forums. For years, fans had been transferring LaserDiscs with no standardization and method. This unregulated practice resulted in dozens, if not hundreds, of captures of differing quality. While some were done on state-of-the-art equipment, most others were performed in an amateur fashion. Some were even created by just hooking up a player to a camcorder and calling it a day. Also at this time, digital video was still within its Wild West phase. Only recently had computer storage space grown to the size required to store digital video, and most captures were still burned directly to DVD. Furthermore, a file sharing standard within the community had yet to be solidified. It wasn't uncommon for video files to be shared in as many as 3 different formats, as it was unlikely that any one would be compatible on all systems. The now ubiquitous MP4 video codec was unknown in the early 2000s, and simple MPEG or MP2 files were all that existed. It is during this time that a user by the name of Laserman entered the scene. Like many others, Laserman wanted to try his hand at creating his own LaserDisc transfer. However, he wasn't interested in only adding to the vast pile that already existed. He wanted his to be state-of-the-art. His vision was to create the most physically perfect LaserDisc transfer possible, one which used only the best equipment and best editing techniques. A few months before the release of Garrett Gilchrist's first classic edition, Laserman created a new thread on the forums and shared his idea with the community. It was an endeavor that he called the X0 Project. Dubbed LaserDisc on steroids, the X0 project would end up representing the combined vision of nearly the entire forums. The key to unlocking this vision, as the name aptly implies, being the famous X0 LaserDisc player. The Japanese HLD X0 LaserDisc player has been considered by many to be one of the best to have ever been built. Running up the buyer a cost of nearly $7,000, this player came with a few key design features crucial to achieving the perfectionist goal of the X0 project. One of these features being that it contained 5 separate NTSC signal decoders placed in parallel. A signal decoder is a piece of hardware designed to interpret the data stored on a LaserDisc and then properly convert it to a video feed. By having 5 decoders placed in parallel, this means that the video signal is decoded 5 separate times simultaneously, and then the resulting image is created from an average of the 5 signals. This helps to reduce the all-too-recognizable video noise from the era. Additionally, the player contained a true 75-ohm BNC connector to connect with TV sets. While most technology at the time featured the ever-present red, yellow, and white RCA cables, this BNC connector resembled much more like a classic coaxial cable in design. This was important for one main reason. While RCA cables will split the chroma and luma channels, that is the color saturation and brightness information, as soon as the signal comes out of the player, the BNC connector does not. Rather, it preserves the output signal in its entirety, allowing the raw signal to be captured by a computer before it is broken up and separated. Furthermore, this player came with a visible light laser, which was much higher in quality than the infrared laser of cheaper players. It also contained 37 low-impedance power regulators. These power regulators delivered a cleaner electrical signal to the unit, which helped to decrease the video noise even more. The X0 player was a beautiful piece of over-engineering, and the results were equally as impressive. Laserman's original goal for the X0 project was to not only capture one Star Wars LaserDisc on the X0 player, but a selection of others from the 1993, 1995, and Japanese releases. The Japanese discs were sourced from an alternate master, one which contained less digital tampering, making it more ideal for preservation.
Someone was in the pod. The tracks go off in this direction. Look, sir, droids! Look, sir, droids! Look, sir, droids!
After running multiple captures of each disc, Laserman then planned to splice the best quality shots from each capture together, thereby creating the best possible version. This would also allow him to eliminate dropouts or misreads in picture information. The main obstacle that Laserman had to overcome, first and foremost, was actually getting his hands on an X-Zero player. While unfortunately, Laserman's initial purchase of the player ended up becoming damaged in transit, a Scandinavian owner of an X-Zero player offered to capture the discs for him. After taking these initial captures of the discs and sharing them with the forums, Laserman was met with a large amount of support for his project. It wouldn't be long before the prospect of the X-Zero project took OriginalTrilogy.com by storm, and soon the entire forum was rooting for Laserman and backing his project. However, to achieve his monumental goal, Laserman would need to enlist some additional help. As you can imagine, dozens of individuals offer their services, each more excited than the next to help play a part in the X-Zero project. However, as it turned out, most either lacked the knowledge necessary or the motivation to complete their work. As a vetting process, Laserman would send each prospective applicant a short sample from his LaserDisc captures and ask them to, quote, do something with it, end quote. The users who were able to show that they could meaningfully contribute to the project were brought on board. Laserman wasn't necessarily looking for the best of the best, however, he didn't want to take on people who were only interested in getting credit for working on the project. Among all the users who wanted to join the project, 3 stood out in particular. Zion, the first forum moderator ever appointed to OriginalTrilogy.com, was one of the first additions to the X-Zero team. Soon thereafter, another user by the name of Mibi Jedi and another by the username of Karyuro would join the ranks as well. Karyuro, in fact, was the user who originally pitched the idea of the X-Zero project to Laserman. Together, they formed the X-Zero team.
Laserman was a very collaborative and supportive guy, making him extremely easy to work with. I don't recall his age, but I believe he was older than the rest of us and had presumably worked in the film industry for years. The X-Zero team, and really the entire Original Trilogy community, had a lot of respect for his knowledge and experience. Zion.
Laserman was no stranger to film. Growing up as the son of a theater projectionist, Laserman had first-hand experience with handling film from a very young age. Early on in his career, he worked for companies such as Autodesk to create some very early examples of 3D CGI software. He even had a part to play in the infamous Dancing Baby, widely considered to be one of the first memes ever created. Later on, he would work in the visual effects industry and had a hand to play on movies such as The Matrix. Laserman's first-hand knowledge was able to bring a certain level of professionalism to the project that was unprecedented for fan edits at the time. Unifying video formats used by the team, adding time codes and frame counts to the capture, and teaching the team how to color calibrate their monitors were all things which Laserman brought to the table. However, Laserman didn't just have a background in film, but in astronomy as well. He was able to bring over a process generally only used in astrophotography, which allowed the project to evolve far beyond its original goal. Within astrophotography, it isn't unusual for hundreds of images to be taken of a single celestial body and then combined to create a single, high-quality image. After borrowing an SGI IRIX workstation from his place of work, Laserman was able to take this same concept and apply it to the LaserDisc captures. His, quote, black magic process consisted of using this workstation to overlay multiple captures on top of each other to achieve a cleaner and sharper picture. In addition to this process, Karyuro also commissioned a user on the Doom 9 forums by the name of E-Mail to create an AVI synth script that would compare 3 captures of each LaserDisc pressing, go through pixel by pixel, and then construct a new image where each pixel was made from the average of the best surrounding 2 or 3 counterparts, helping to eliminate any capture-related flaws. Video logs created by Mibi Jedi further document how the LaserDisc captures created for the X-Zero project were to be restored. Using film restoration and editing suites like Combustion, Discrete, or Sony Vegas, misreads and dropouts in LaserDisc information could be repaired by either shifting misread lines to their proper location or by copy and pasting similar data from other parts in the video. Another restoration endeavor pursued by the team was to remove garbage mats. During the compositing of special effects in the pre-digital age, garbage mats were used to isolate visual effects elements. In essence, these mats played a part in a way that a type of pre-digital green screen was achieved. While these garbage mats were usually composited out of the final film, there are a few instances in the original trilogy where the mats visibly persist. By performing a basic color correction and setting the black point to match that of the garbage mat, like magic, the X-Zero team were able to remove them from their LaserDisc captures. These methods and video logs give us a glimpse into the real magic of the X-Zero team. Passion and innovation were at the heart of each member, especially Laserman. Their novel, yet technical approach to fan preservation was what allowed the X-Zero project to gain such a cult following. The team was able to raise thousands of dollars from donations, and at one point even a t-shirt design contest was created, a winner chosen, and a few boxes of shirts were made commemorating the project. Needless to say, the fans were excited, and while progress was slow, if the preservation community is good at one thing, it's being patient. However, and quite unfortunately, a finished version of the X-Zero project never saw the light of day. In 2006, it was announced that Laserman had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, pivoting his life toward long hospital stays, arduous treatment, and very low odds of survival. Subsequently, his work on the X-Zero project and communication with the X-Zero team came to a halt. The team, no longer united by a common leader and separated by thousands of miles of distance and, not to mention, by dial-up internet, were unable to continue working as efficiently as before. Soon, work on the project ended. Laserman ended up going offline on September 7, 2006, and hasn't been seen on OriginalTrilogy.com since. Not long after, Zion would make an announcement implying that in all likelihood, Laserman had succumbed to his illness and had passed away. Without its innovative leader, the X-Zero project died. The most that was ever released to the public were a few work-in-progress samples and a complete, yet unrestored capture of the film taken from the X-Zero player. And that would be the end of this chapter in Star Wars preservation history. Except it wasn't quite the end.
I think my uncle knows him. He said he was dead.
Oh, he's not dead. Not yet.
In November of 2012, a user from OriginalTrilogy.com named Ansu Faub claimed that they had successfully found Laserman on another forum, tracked him down, and had gotten into contact with him. Ansu Faub had found a user on various other forum sites going by the username of Laserman, and after a fair bit of cyberstalking, managed to obtain his email address and reached out. While this user was annoyed at being contacted out of the blue, Ansu Faub was able to convince Zion to reach out and determine if it was actually Laserman. And lo and behold, Zion was able to confirm that this was, indeed, Laserman. And as it turns out, not only was Laserman alive and well, but he was still active on OriginalTrilogy.com. After a tough battle with lymphoma, Laserman decided to return to OriginalTrilogy.com a few years later. By the time of his return, the X-Zero project, even if completed, would have been seen as outdated, as other projects like the Blu-ray-based Despecialized Edition and the 35mm-based Silver Screen Edition had already been released. Even though the project was never completed, all the team members state that they don't regret putting in the time and effort into this endeavor because of all the valuable skills they learned along the way. Wanting to move away from this project and explore new avenues of preservation, Laserman decided to create a new account and go by a new name. Laserman is none other than the legendary user, Poida. Upon hearing this information from Laserman himself over email, I couldn't believe what I was reading. Poida has been at the forefront of many preservation projects and to this day has had a part to play in some of the most major ones. Project 4K80, a 4K 35mm restoration done by Team -1, had its first reel sourced from Poida's own 35mm print of The Empire Strikes Back, and word is that he has a mint condition print of the movie saved in cold storage. The news that Laserman, aka Poida, had not succumbed to his illness and still contributes to Star Wars fan preservation to this day is enough to put a smile on anybody's face. This story has not only been the tale of a highly technical LaserDisc player, but more so a tale about the devoted and enduring character of Laserman. And so ends this rather complex chapter of Star Wars preservation history.